seen websites that are out there that are run by my opponent's campaign that are attacking, that are saying some really negative things. There was some, a very strange picture that was posted by someone that's in attendance here tonight at the East Montgomery County Fair, and then immediately posted on a website that's obviously run by my opponent. So I'm very concerned about some of the happenings that's coming from his camp, and I would love to hear him make that same pledge that no nastiness and personal attacks and attacks on our families and attacks on those that support us, because that's not what this is about. We're looking for a law enforcement job. It's a political process to get it, but we're cops. We're rule followers. And I like to think that we're pretty good people. So I'd like to see that we act like adults and do what's right. And if my mom is happy with what I'm doing, then obviously I'm doing something right. So I want to keep it that way. I'd like for my opponent to abide by those same principles as well. Thank you.
Well, to address that, that is not my website, nor is it one that I have authorized. I don't know who put that picture up there. All I know is that it was not a picture of you, so I did make sure that that kind of thing doesn't happen. And yes, I'll sign that pledge if that need be. I don't plan to attack my opponent in any way, shape, or form as far as in any kind of personal situation. We may talk about our records to each other back and forth in public. I don't mind doing that. But other than that, our families are completely out of bounds. And I would never speak badly of his family or anyone in it. So yes, I would sign that.
So the Moco Election Watch is not your webpage, and you're not affiliated with that in any way, the Facebook page?
Right.
No affiliation whatsoever?
No, whatsoever.
Okay, thank you.
All right. I think that concludes at least my asking questions.
Okay.
So,
They have 5 minutes each to close. Whoever opened first
there you go.
goes last.
Jim, I think we started with you with the first question. So ran 5 minutes, close. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity. This is our first candidate forum. We had a very small one back in May at the Woodlands Republican. But this is obviously a much larger forum, and I'm just really I'm just really happy to see that the attendance that we have here tonight, it's overwhelming that our community wants to come out and give us the support that we're getting from you all. So that means a lot. Thank you for your involvement and for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come here and speak tonight. But I'm here to tell you that as the experienced person with the Sheriff's Office, I have the right experience leading this department moving forward. The Sheriff's Office is my second home. My family has been tremendously supportive in this process, because there's no better way to take care of your family than to run the largest sheriff's office, or to run the sheriff's office in one of the largest counties in the state of Texas. It ensures our personal safety. It ensures the personal safety of our residents in our neighborhoods, our businesses, and the surrounding areas and the roads that we travel. So I love this department. I love what we're doing. I think we're moving in the right direction and have been for many years. Sheriff Gage has built an extremely strong foundation that I have the privilege of leveraging that as we move forward. Sheriff Gage and I have some different ideas. I mean, I've learned from the man, I've learned from the department, I've learned from my superiors over the years. I started as a line level patrol deputy and worked my way up. I did the job as a patrolman. Then the department had the faith in me to promote me to corporal, which meant that I was a field training officer. So the department had the faith in me to say that we want you to train those that are coming into this business. And then the department had the faith in me to promote me to sergeant, which meant that I was the first line supervisor coordinating shifts throughout the county and making sure that the deputies did the job that they were charged to do and do it right. Then the department had the faith in me to promote me to lieutenant. And as lieutenant, I was the first public information office director for the sheriff's office. Never been done before. Sheriff Williams said, go find a school, figure out how to do it. So I did. I started the first website for the sheriff's office as a brand new lieutenant. And then Sheriff Gage came in and I got to move to patrol, which was always my love. So I was a patrol lieutenant in District 1 for a year, working for Captain Llewellyn at the time, who's in the audience. And then I was able to laterally transfer, not exactly my dream job, but it turned out to be one of the most rewarding jobs that I ever had, because I learned so much, was in the Internal Affairs Unit. I found that it was paramount to find those that are doing wrongs within our department and remove them, because we have a very honorable profession, and only those with honor can serve within our department. So I did that for a few years, and then Sheriff Gage had the confidence to bring me into the command staff. That's when I became the captain over the patrol division. And as captain, I'm a full division manager. I manage my own budget. I oversee managers who oversee supervisors, who oversee trainers, who oversee deputies. He's also had the faith in me to oversee some of our specialized units, such as the motorcycle traffic unit. He named me training director in 2010, a position I've proudly held ever since then. I also had the opportunity to serve as the jail captain. Not one of the most glorious commands in the sheriff's office, but as the sheriff always says, it's his biggest liability. And when I went back there to the jail, I found a great group of young men and women that were doing a great job, and it wasn't being recognized like it should. So we worked with them to improve their professionalism, improve the efficiencies of their job, and make them better at what they do on a day in and day out basis. So as your sheriff, I'm ready. I went back to school and got my master's degree in preparation for this. I went to Quantico, Virginia, and trained with the FBI National Academy to get the management training that I needed to become the sheriff of Montgomery County. I went to the state version of the National Academy, which is a Leadership Command College in Huntsville, Texas. And I went through all 12 weeks of that program to get the command experience. I've got emergency management experience. I've served as an emergency management coordinator for numerous events, including the wildfires that I mentioned earlier, Hurricane Ike, and many others that we prepared for that turned out not to be the disasters that we thought they would be. So with that, I want to let you know that I'm prepared. I've got the experience, and I'm ready to hit the ground running and take over the reins on day one. Thank you.
I just want to talk about history a little bit, history of our country and the history of our great state. It started with volunteerism when, in the 1700s, when General Washington needed an army, he went to the people. He asked the people to say, I'll stand up, I'll fight for my family, I'll defend my country, which really wasn't even a country, but just their state. The state of Texas did the exact same thing. The Alamo was full of volunteers from all over the United States at the time. I started my career in law enforcement as a volunteer. I got paid nothing to do this job, but I loved it. I was out there as often as I can, to the point where we went out and got our own car, our own reserve car, so we could ride as often as we possibly could. And there's some guys in the audience here that remember back in those days. I would work every weekend I could. I would work during the week, and then when I got laid off from my engineering position, I was working 40 hours a week for free for the state of Texas and for the citizens of Montgomery County. And sometimes in law enforcement, and only in law enforcement do I ever see this, is that we look down on the reserve position as just a reserve. But you never hear someone say that about a volunteer fireman that goes out and puts out a fire. You never hear them say that about a volunteer at the hospital, or a volunteer at your local school that helps the teachers. They go in every day. They don't say, oh, that's just a volunteer, don't worry about them. But we hear it, law enforcement is the only place. In my department, I have 6 reserves that work for us, and they're all great men. They do a good job. They come in and work for free. So from there, from that volunteerism, I was able to get a job with the United States Secret Service. It was a great honor. I went to the Secret Service Academy in 1986 and walked around Washington, D.C. thinking, wow, this is really cool. You know, I mean, you have to admit, you get into the mat room and you sit there and you look at the Secret Service star on the mat and you just think, how I got here finally. 3.5 years of waiting for this job. But I was able to work through the different squads there. I got back to the Houston field office. I worked in fraud and counterfeit, and I worked with many of the officers up here because a lot of the cases came back here. And from there, I was sent to former President Bush's detail in Houston, and then from there to the President's detail in Washington, where I had the honor of being asked to be a counter-assault team agent, which it'll take me a whole lot longer than the 2 minutes I have left to explain it. But in those days, I was able to meet great people like Colonel McCabe that's sitting over here, who was then the commander of Delta at the time, and to learn from them about leadership and how to deal with things. And when you have a crisis and you're the guy on the front line, how to make that right decision. When you're geared up and you're expected to do the job, when you go through that door that first day and you're the front guy going in the door during a raid, you know what to do. You know what your job is. And if you're the commander at the back of the stack, you also know what your job is for your men and what you're going to do. I was trained highly by the United States government to do a job, to take care of business. And I now bring that to my department. And I plan to bring that to the sheriff's office. Is we're going to get the job done and we're going to do it right, but we're going to do it so that our men and women have ownership of what they do. They will go to work every day proud to say, you know what, I'm working for the sheriff's department and we're going to make this the best sheriff's department in the state of Texas. It's going to be so good that people are going to want to come here. They're going to quit their other jobs to say, you know, we're going to go work for Montgomery County because that's the place to go. They have the equipment, they have the training, they have the knowledge to get the job done. They're out there doing what they need to do for their citizens. That's why I think that I have the best training and knowledge to get this job done, because it's not only in the private sector that I have knowledge. I have it from the government, I have it here locally, and then I started it here, so I'm back to do the job that I first went to leave to go do. To be the best that I can be, to do the best job that you can do, to be trained by the best, to understand what your limitations are and what you can do to get the job done. That's what it's all about. It's not about calling each other names or doing any of that. It's about trying to get the best person into this job so that the county can benefit, so that the citizens can benefit. Thank you very much for your time.
I know it seems like a long night because of the temperature.